What's going on, everyone, and happy Tuesday. While the market itself didn't really move too much, there were a handful of stocks that really blasted to the upside, like PHUN and DWAC, as those just rocketed. At the same time, we even saw some, powerhouse companies like AMD blast to the upside by around 8%, and its options popped up by 2,000% today. So in this video, we're going to talk about why these stocks are moving in such crazy ways. We're going to talk about why tomorrow will be crucial and some good opportunities to go along with that. Towards the end of today's video, we also have a $1 million and $40,000 trade for tomorrow. So make sure to stick with us all the way to the end. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, today was a wild day in the market. Whenever you zoom in on the SPY, go to like a 1-minute chart, there were definitely opportunities up and down, but for the most part, it just chopped around again. And even if we go back to Friday, it chopped around there too. There was just a lot of chop over the past couple weeks as it's been kind of just stuck up in this zone, right? Today, it got down to 473. I think if we break below there tomorrow, we could see some more downwards price action, but with how choppy it is, I would not be surprised if we came back up to maybe test that high of day, 476.50, before just chopping around even more. But there was some great movement today. AMD was one of the best stocks in the market as they started running up, and we're going to talk about this one in just a second, Mike, but they were just so many stocks breaking all-time highs too. NVDA continued up, Microsoft continued up, but I think AMD was really the more popular one of the day as it ended up going up 8%, which is way above its average.
Exactly. So, Tom, tell us more about why this stock is actually moving, because, it's sure not for just, it's not by random chance.
Yeah, exactly. So I saw that there were actually a couple analysts upgrade their price targets here. Tom O'Malley at Barclays actually upped it to $200 from $120. That is a huge upgrade there. As we go down, KeyBank upped theirs to $195. So these people are looking for AMD to hit like $195 to $200. We're at $160 right now. That would actually put it well above the all-time high, which is right here, right around 164. So if we can get above there, I think will be a smooth sailing for AMD, and it doesn't surprise me one bit because we can go out to NVIDIA and it's starting to move too. So these AI slash chip stocks are just having one hell of a run right now, but good job for AMD. It just seems like every single day we hear more good news about AI chips and more demand coming in. It's one hell of a piece of technology.
No doubt. And looking at AMD for tomorrow, which is what most people care about, it's at a point right now where it's, breaking yearly highs and it's getting closer and closer to its all-time high. It has a ton of momentum right now, and as long as this type of momentum stays in the stock, then there's opportunity. But the second you see, that giant imbalance of buying pressure start to slow down, that's where this trade becomes more risky. So going into tomorrow, it's all about the price action. It's all about the momentum. You want to just see the same type of price action that we saw today. If the market opens up tomorrow and AMD is just chopping around at open, don't force a bad setup. But it's if you see the stock continuing to rip higher again and again and again and continue to make yearly highs, then, again, there's opportunity.
Yeah, there is, and we can actually go over to the book map really quick on AMD, and there's actually a huge overhead level, 160, around close. I was seeing 200,000 shares, 160,000 shares stacking up there, so keep your eyes on that 160 level tomorrow. I think that's an awesome spot to watch, especially since it's just above that high of day and after hours. So let's go, Mike. Hopefully AMD can continue up with the good price action, and I know there were a few other stocks that had some great price action too, but I know that we're kind of also in a shaky time of the year, and I know the SPY was actually red today considering all these stocks were green, which is weird.
Yeah, a lot of people are looking at the market right now and saying, what's going on in 2024? But historically speaking, January isn't necessarily the best time of the year, especially in an election year, and especially over the past 20 years. We can see that January, when you look over the past 20 years, and if it's an election year, doesn't tend to do that well. And the same goes for February. But as the year goes on, that's when, at least historically speaking, the market tends to pick up. But, these first couple months are supposed to be, we'll say not the best for the market overall, but keep in mind, guys, the market actually fell today, and while that might seem like a bad thing, individual stocks like AMD jumped by 8%, and its options moved up by 2,000%. So don't just think because the market might be slow that there's no opportunity in like other areas of the market and with individual stocks.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people, they'll say, well, hey, if the SPY's going down, don't trade some of these other tech stocks that are going up because it's kind of like going against the market, right? And there's always going to be those opportunities out there that outperform maybe with good news, kind of like we saw with AMD today and some of these other stocks like even DWAC and PHUN. But yeah, it's a really good point, Mike. There's a lot of fun areas of the market. And, some of those, like I said, DWAC and PHUN had a lot of potential today too. I'll say I think DWAC had more potential than PHUN, but oh my gosh, PHUN has a flurry of news and after hours. They were up 400% at close, Mike. How often do we see a stock move up 400% in one day?
Not too often, we'll say that. And, Tom, a lot of people hear the ticker symbols PHUN and then DWAC, and a lot of people have never even heard of these companies. So can you give us a little bit of a background of, why these stocks move in such crazy ways and why they're moving today?
Yeah, so they're huge because DWAC is actually Truth Social in the grand scheme of things, right? There's like some type of SPAC or a deal that's bringing Truth Social onto the market. And what you need to know is that ticker is trading as DWAC. And essentially, Truth Social is a platform that Trump has endorsed, and he actually uses it to, I guess, connect with his people. Well, he had a big win in Iowa last night, which was huge. We're not going to get too political with this, but at the end of the day, the big thing is whenever Trump won like this, he's connected to these stocks, PHUN and DWAC. So it's making these stocks move, and you can see today that they had quite the runs. DWAC up 29%, and we go out to a daily chart of DWAC, and it has these big moves like this. Now, what I will say is I think it's very important to be extremely, extremely careful with these stocks. While there can be some good momentum and good opportunities intraday, I would say the best thing to do is to scalp this quickly. If you hold this for multiple days, there's been a lot of scenarios where these big run-ups have fallen over extremely fast. So just keep that in mind. But hey, the good news is that they're starting to run right now. And I know PHUN had an offering though, so that one might not be the best for tomorrow, honestly. This one is going to piss a lot of people off, I have a feeling.
Oh yeah, it got taken to the woodshed in after hours today. It was running great during market hours, but as soon as after hours hit, all hell broke loose. We'll say that. But DWAC is still holding up fine so far. And like you said, it's a super crazy stock. It's almost as crazy as some of these marijuana stocks out there. But it's like every now and then this stock just blasts to the upside. And sometimes it continues, sometimes it doesn't. But when it moves, it really moves.
Yeah, that was an insane run today, 29%. And, considering, let's say that Trump wins another state and another one and another one, is this stock going to react like this every time? So there might be some opportunities heading into those events. I will say this, it's probably not worth playing. It's going to be like playing earnings, But at least we know that, there's polls out there and you might be able to make more of a educated guess on who's going to win. But it's definitely interesting, Mike. And I think that maybe as the election goes on, we might see more hype with this one, obviously. So it's going to be a crazy year this year, guys. Be ready for the circus to continue, as I like to call it, because I know it makes a lot of people angry out there, too. It seems like these election years are very high stress, I would say, for the overall public, I guess.
No doubt. All right, well, a stock I'm watching pretty closely tomorrow is MSOS, and it's actually a stock I talked about in yesterday's video, and it basically follows a bunch of US-based cannabis companies, and it was moving to the upside in a pretty good way off of some good news over the weekend, but this stock has just been inching higher and higher and higher over the past couple weeks and months, and these types of stocks will be very interesting in 2024 given the election year. So I'm watching it very closely. I've been watching this one in a bullish way for weeks now, and it's been working out beautifully. But this stock is very volatile, and I think it has, still some even more potential to the upside. I will say this, though. It's one of those stocks where it's like, if you can't handle the heat, then get out of the kitchen. But if you can handle the heat, then it is an exciting one to trade. And I think the best way to go about it is like, if you're going to get in it, then make the decision to get in it and then hold it for, however many weeks or months. And if you're not, then just don't play it at all, because, some days it can gap up a ton.
Yeah, you better be like Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen if you're going to be trading this, because that is one crazy stock, and just the MJ stocks in general are crazy. I hold Tilray, and that thing fluctuates around like no other. It goes from like $1.50 to $3 back down all the time, it seems like lately. So keep your eyes on those MJ stocks. With my first play, I'm going with AMD again. I called this one out yesterday. I said that I would have preferred it to the downside, but if it ended up breaking 150, this overhead resistance, watch it up. And I'll say this, that was one hell of a breakout to the upside today. So I guess to everyone who was adaptable and ended up watching this one up and setting that alert, nice to you if you ended up playing this. So I'm going to be watching it again tomorrow above 160. I brought up the book map earlier, and I'm going to bring it up again. That's a huge area. There was around 150,000 to 200,000 shares stacked up there throughout the day today, given different times. But we'll have to see if we break out above that tomorrow. I think there can be a lot more bullish price action here, and we might continue that run up to all-time highs.
There we go. All right, another stock I'm watching pretty closely is UVXY. This basically follows, I guess you can say, the VIX, but long story short, when people are panicking in the market, this shoots up a lot. So the more volatility that is expected in the market, which normally happens during market sell-offs, the higher UVXY pops up by. It moved up by around 5% today, which is awesome. But if we see like a real sell-off, then this thing can really move to the upside. And one thing that's pretty interesting is that the S&P 500 hasn't declined by 2% or more for 225 consecutive trading days. And then this is the longest streak since a 351-day stretch that lasted from September of 2016 all the way to February of 2018. So it's definitely been a little bit of a dry period for the market and, decent red days.
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost like, I hate saying this, Mike, but it's almost like in baseball. They're like, if a baseball player is having a bad month and he hasn't hit a home run in a while or something, they're like, he's due, right? Or like a wide receiver's due to make a big catch or something. I feel like the market's kind of due right now for that downtrend, right? So I'll be watching it because that'll be pretty fun to see, and I think UVXY will be a very, very fun one. I got to go with DWAC on my next setup, Mike. DWAC was 29% today. It ran up quite a bit to around $23. I think the big thing is just going to be identifying that momentum. If you start to see like 23 breaking and we have good volatile candles like we had today with a lot of bullish price action, then I think that this one will be very fun for tomorrow. At the same time, it's a tough stock to trade. Make it break the high and make the momentum be there. Don't just blindly buy it at open because it can easily turn back over.
All right, good stuff. Well, Tom, it's now about that time for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have another fairly volatile stock, but in a good way, and that is CGC. So it's another marijuana-based company, and they popped up by 6% today, and they moved up with some decent volume as well. So what are the levels to watch?
Yeah, it actually rejected right at $5, but it got up to like 505. So if it's able to break above like that high of day today, right around 505 to 506, then go ahead and look at some calls tomorrow. This will definitely be a pretty fun stock to play. Like you said, it has those really volatile moves.
All right, with the next one, we have Netflix to the downside.
NFLX, brutal move today by them. They were one of the big tech stocks that actually drug the market down because I know everyone was looking at them up today. Go ahead and watch for them to break below 478. It's literally right at the low of day.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Tesla for both directions.
Tesla, yeah, this one was interesting. I'll say this, Tesla had a nice support bounce today. If it can break above 224 tomorrow, go ahead and look at calls up to like 226. I think that could be a good target, but watch for Tesla to move up. If it ends up falling under 218, then I up puts. I think that 218 will be a good support, but either way, Tesla's been on a big downtrend lately, so don't be surprised if it pops up a little bit.
All right, good stuff. So you guys heard Tom. We have the downside level for puts, and we have the upside level for calls. Don't forget about Netflix with the potential downside play there, and then CGC with the potential upside move there. These three stocks are only potential trades tomorrow if they break the levels Tom listed. If they don't break, then find a new setup. Don't force a setup that's not there. We're looking for a strong, powerful break above the listed levels and then a continuation in that direction. And that's the name of the game, following and riding that imbalance of buying and selling pressure. But Tom, it's now about that time for today's $1,040,000 big money trade of the day. And we are looking at one of those crazy airline stocks, which is American Airlines, ticker symbol AAL. And it fell a little bit today by, around 0.15%, but not too much. But basically, we saw the big money dump $1 million into the AAL 14 strike call options that expire on March 15th of 2024. So the $13 to $12 range has been a great range for support for this company over the past couple of years. And seeing $1 million worth of calls come in right now is definitely pretty eye-catching. The call options are a little bit far out of the money, but not too bad given that the stock it's been decently volatile lately, which is a good thing, and there's a decent amount of time to these options as well. So the trade has potential. It's not my favorite setup in the world, but if we do see AAL with some solid price action, then maybe this one's worth following.
Yeah, I really like that support down here. There's been a lot of bounces. Sometimes the support gave out a little bit and it started heading towards like $11, $10, but it ended up coming back well, and I think that we're going to see another nice bounce here. These airlines have been doing really good lately, and then they started dipping down, obviously, right? Like last week was pretty rough. We started to see Delta report their earnings, and that was one of the things that kind of really drove these airlines down recently. So I'll be watching for them to start to recover back up, Mike. Hopefully AAL can get up here. I think that's a very fun big money play. These airlines are usually pretty lucrative. Like the options are usually fairly low in price. They can move quite a bit too. So I like it. I've been holding LUV for a little while, and it's been doing very, very well. So hopefully these airlines do better because, the more the merrier, I'll say, when you're holding shares. That's for sure.
You know it. Tom, whether you're looking at AAL or LUV or AMD or any other stock in the market right now, one thing that's catching my eye quite a bit is the recent price action with the volatility index, or VIX. So basically, whenever we see this move to the upside in a major way, it means that there's a lot of structural things changing in the market. And usually whenever this happens, it normally offers a ton of great short-term trade opportunities, most of the time to the downside. The volatility index popped up by around 9% today, and it's getting very close to that 14 level, which is good. So if this continues to rise, the market can heat up quicker than I think anyone is currently expecting. So everyone keep a close eye on the volatility index, or VIX, going forward. The more this rises and the quicker it rises, the better it will be, not only for short-term options trading, because options prices will literally rise, but we'll also see much more powerful and consistent moves across the entire market.
Yeah, and let's actually go back a little bit here to August and September, whenever the market was downtrending, right? There was a lot of great price action in the market to the downside. Like, look at the candles that were going on during this time that I'm circling in blue here and drawing out the blue lines. This is actually pretty awesome. That was some volatile movement. And, there was a lot of stocks that were having some pretty big pullbacks and volatile movement during that time too. Now, if we go back to VIX and we go back to September, let's look at the move from the low to the high. VIX ended up running up around 81%, Mike. 81%. So that's awesome there. If we go to UVXY and we go to that September run up, it was pretty high too, right around 56%. So you can definitely take advantage of the volatility as it starts to move. And it's been stuck down here and bouncing off support quite a bit. So if it holds and starts to come back and even breaks this 14 area and starts to, I would say, get like to 16, 17, we're going to start to see a lot of fun price action. So let's go, Mike. Hopefully the volatility keeps coming in for 2024 and it starts to pick up a little bit so we can catch some of these fun trades, because I'm tired of the SPY being stuck around the highs here. It needs to get some movement like Nvidia or something at least.
Oh yeah, let's go. Tom, I want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day today, Scorpion X, in the Stocked Up trading floor, and they hit it out of the park with some Boeing put options today. Looks like they cashed in for around $3,500. So huge shout out to you, Scorpion X. You've been doing a phenomenal job, and keep up all of the great work. And to everyone who's new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you can see our videos recommended to you more often. We post all the time, and it takes us hours to make these videos where you can have everything you need to know about the market in a nice and easy way that's sometimes kind of entertaining, and all in like 20 to 25 minutes. So definitely join the Stocked Up crew, join the channel, and besides that, guys, let's have an amazing rest of the week.